Hello everyone, welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more exciting true crime content. Today we look at a jailed man, Mr. Dean Boss, who hatched a plot to flood Tyneside with Class A drugs while serving a prison term for armed robbery. Links were formed between Newcastle and Merseyside for the distribution of cocaine. Newcastle Central Station was used as a meeting point for the drugs couriers, picking up instructions from the ringleaders via phone booths outside the station. But the ring was smashed by officers from Northumbria Police Crime Team, who monitored the activity. A police spokesperson said that drugs were destined for Tyneside, and the people at the top had networked while in prison. It was a lucrative racket. Police seized 3/4 kilo of cocaine and thousands of pounds in cash. Gang members are facing jail for their parts in conspiracy to supply cocaine after admitting the offence at Newcastle Crown Court yesterday. Dean Boss, 29, of Otterburn Court, Bensham, Lucas Dixon, 31, of Almond Crescent, Gateshead, and Paul Moore, 44, of Burrows Court, Liverpool, and Daniel Morrison, 31, of Primary Avenue, Bootle, Merseyside, all admitted conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. The boss was convicted of robbery in August 1998 at Newcastle Crown Court after he and another man held up travel agency staff at Going Places, Kells Lane, Gateshead, with an axe. He escaped with £7,700 in sterling cash and foreign currency after terrorising cashiers. While in jail, he met William Moore, Paul's brother, who was serving time for drug offences. When Mr. Boss came out, he recruited Paul Moore for the drugs work. William Moore is now serving 30 years for conspiracy to murder in a gangland attack in Liverpool. Mr. Boss and his partner Dawn Chappell, 22, also of Otterbourne Close, both denied a further charge of money laundering involving £30,000 as the proceeds of the drugs conspiracy. Prosecutors asked for the laundering charge to be left on the file against Mr. Boss. A not guilty verdict was recorded in the case of Miss Chappell. Recorder James Goss adjourned the case until today, but remanding all 4 men in custody. He said in each case it's purely a matter of length of sentence. Kenneth Patterson, 53, Windmill Way, Gateshead, was convicted of possession with intent to supply Class A drugs and jailed for 3.5 years in December 2004. The operation began in December 2003 as police tracked Patterson's activities. Sources say information was received that Patterson was travelling with a large quantity of cash on a regular basis to the Liverpool area and buying Class A drugs. On February 9, 2004, Patterson was seen exchanging packages with Mr. Morrison in a lay-by on the A66 at Scotch Corner. A police spokesman said, following a further visit to the Liverpool area, Mr. Patterson was stopped by a police officer in Gateshead on March 11, 2004. Officers recovered 750 grams of cocaine from his vehicle. The following day, Mr. Morrison was arrested in Liverpool and later bailed pending further inquiries. Mr. Patterson admitted being a drug courier, but refused to say for whom. He said he travelled to Liverpool and Scotch Corner on several occasions to meet Mr. Morrison and collect drugs for cash. The South Crime Team began a further investigation into Patterson's criminal associates. In photographs obtained by the Chronicle, couriers Moore and Dickinson were seen meeting in the Central Station phone booths on October the 1st last year. The rendezvous had been organised by Mr. Boss, said to be the kingpin of the drugs organisation. Mr. Dickinson had replaced Mr. Patterson as Mr. Boss's new drugs footman. It is believed that Mr. Moore had been carrying drugs and Mr. Dickinson had a consignment of cash. The pair met again on November the 30th and Mr. Dickinson exchanged £18,000 for cash for Class A drugs. Mr. Moore was stopped by the police on the A1 and the cash was recovered. He was arrested, as were Mr. Dickinson and Mr. Boss. Although no drugs were recovered, a forensic examination of the hire vehicle showed it was highly contaminated with Class A drugs. Sandwich packages brought by Mr. Moore at the train station also were covered in drugs. Mr. Moore, Mr. Dickinson and Mr. Boss were arrested on February 7th this year on suspicion of conspiracy to supply. Dickinson admitted acting as a courier, delivering packages to the Gateshead area. Mr. Morrison was arrested on March 30th and charged with conspiracy to supply. What do you think about the crimes of Mr. Boss, and how he managed to run it whilst in prison?
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and a share, and leave any thoughts or suggestions you have in the comments section. We love to read through them all. And if you're new but enjoy UK true crime content, then subscribe to see when our newest video releases. And as always, stay safe.